Hey y'all. For those that have been following me for a while, and by a while I kind of mean decades, back in the Visual Studio Team System days in 2005, 2006, I used to put out a news roundup of all the new stuff that was being released. Given the rate that GitHub is pushing new items out, I thought I'd revive the practice. So, welcome to my first GitHub News Roundup. And maybe I'll think of a catchier name some other time. Remember, you can find all the information I'm going to give you in this video over at github.com/changelog. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel to help me out with the YouTube algorithm. First up is something related to GitHub Actions. Ubuntu 24.04 images are now available for ARM64 runners. Developers can now run their Actions workflows using Ubuntu 24.04 on the GitHub-hosted ARM64 runners that are currently in public beta. Now, to use the ARM64 hosted runners, you have to be using what we call our larger runners, which are only available for organizations and enterprises using the Enterprise Team or GitHub Enterprise Cloud plans. Now, keep in mind that the image is provided by ARM, and it is not maintained by GitHub. So if you spot anything wrong with your workflows when you're using this new image, give that feedback over at the Partner Images repo, which you can find linked below. Next up, we have some dependabot news. If you're using dependabot to provide version updates, you may have run into challenges configuring the dependabot.yml file to work with all your repositories without having to do repo-specific customizations. Now, with this update to the dependabot YAML configuration, you can now specify multiple directories of dependency manifests using the directories key. And directories can be configured with wildcards or globbing to make targeting easier. All of these changes should provide more flexibility in configuring dependabot. Back to GitHub Actions land, and we just announced the general availability of artifact attestations. Now, this is a new feature that I haven't had a chance to look at yet, but it's high on my list. Artifact attestations allow you to guarantee the integrity of artifacts built inside GitHub Actions by creating and verifying signed attestations. Powered by SigStore, Artifact attestations helps you secure your software's supply chain by creating an unforgeable link between artifacts and the build process. And it's as simple as adding an action to your workflow to implement. A small but nice change are some improvements to GitHub's global navigation. GitHub has now optimized parts of the global navigation to load up to 25% faster, making your experience using GitHub better. As well, they've made switching between accounts more seamless and efficient. And let me tell you, if you haven't been using the account switcher inside of GitHub, it's a game changer, especially for users who maintain both enterprise managed user accounts as well as a regular github.com account. Cat break. This is Todd. He is my 30-pound bundle of joy. And if you made it this far in the video, comment Todd on the video for me. Love you, Todd. Back to dependabot to talk about the general availability of auto-triage rules. Auto-triage rules help you reduce alert and pull request fatigue while better managing your alerts at scale. Dependabot auto-triage allows you to create your own custom rules to control how dependabot can ignore alerts, snooze or reopen alerts, and generate pull requests to fix alerts. This allows you to focus on alerts that are the most important. If you use GitHub Advanced Security, then you probably love GitHub Secret Scanning. Secret Scanning scans your repository and history for secrets, by default partner secrets, though you can provide your own custom patterns to scan for. One thing you want to know with any found secrets is, are they active or not? This latest update adds the ability to do on-demand validation of NuGet API keys and supported Azure connection strings, And this can be very helpful as you begin to triage those secret scanning alerts to easily know if the secret is active and needs to be rotated. Okay, buckle up, because now it's time for the June updates for Copilot Enterprise, and there is a lot here. So let's see how quickly we can get through these. Copilot Chat in GitHub.com can now answer questions about your pull requests, discussions, and files. Try this by navigating to a pull request on GitHub.com and asking Copilot to tell you about this pull request. You can get more out of discussions now. You can use Copilot Chat to summarize discussions and discussion comments. It can even identify themes in the discussions and commentary made by different participants, making it easier to catch up on the context of the discussions. Give this a try. Go to a discussion, open Copilot Chat, and ask it to summarize the discussion. You can now ask Copilot about files and learn about recent changes to the files. It can now tell you about a file or retrieve the most recent information or changes about that file on any branch. Okay, now this one I like. Copilot Enterprise features are now available in VS Code and Visual Studio. This includes being able to chat with the context of the web in VS Code and Visual Studio. GitHub Copilot can now search Bing to find information outside its general knowledge of your codebase. You just mention @GitHub, and Copilot will intelligently decide when to use Bing. You can now get answers from across your entire codebase in Visual Studio. Copilot Chat now answers questions with understanding of your full repository, not just the tabs you have open. You need to first index the repo on GitHub.com and then ask a question mentioning @GitHub to make use of this functionality. You can access your Copilot knowledge bases in VS Code. You can now access these from any Copilot Chat conversation by typing @GitHub, then #KB. This will give you a list of knowledge bases to select from, and you can select from that list and then enter your question. Copilot will then respond using markdown documentation from your knowledge base as context for its answers. And the hits keep coming with GitHub issues and project updates. You now have the ability to interact with project status updates using GraphQL and webhooks. A new GraphQL object allows you to interact with project status updates, so you can view, create, update, and delete status updates. Project status updates are also included in the new Project's webhook event, so you can understand and be notified when a new project status is updated. And custom field changes are now included directly in the webhook event when a project item's fields are edited, removing the need to do an additional GraphQL query to get that information. There's also a lot of various bug fixes and improvements to projects and issues, but I'll let you go to the post and read about those yourself. And we'll wrap up this week's news dump with Software Bill of Materials, or SBOMs, now including copyright attribution data. GitHub users have the ability to create an SBOM for a repository to understand its dependencies. In case you didn't know, SBOMs are a machine-readable inventory of a project's dependencies and associated information. With this release, GitHub has added copyright attribution data for dependencies directly in the SBOM. Whew. And there you have it. A roundup of all the changes and releases from GitHub for the week of June 23rd, 2024. Remember, you can read about all of these changes at github.com/changelog, and I have links to all the different changes in the notes below. Leave me a comment below. Let me know if you found this video interesting or helpful. Thanks for watching.